Hello, I am Quinny. Welcome to the channel. In this video today, guys, I'm going to be giving you my top 3 SoRare hacks. Now, what these things are hacks for is getting a little bit of an edge or a little bit of an acceleration on time and development in terms of getting in the gallery, getting the kind of cards at the level that you aspire to have. I hope you enjoy this, guys. I had a lot of fun making it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps other people find the stuff and they might like it too, which is always nice. And yeah, let's get stuck into it. Now, the first one's really cheeky and it'll require a little bit of homework, okay? But if you've not got the time, the resources, or you're not prepared to put the effort in to go and really deep dive scout in terms of players you might want to be buying and picking up, that sort of thing, a great little shortcut, a great little cheat is actually just checking out what other managers are doing, okay? Now, on SoRareData.com you can get access to a wide plethora of data and information, okay? In that, you'll see there's a little managers tab just over here above my head. If you click into that, I'll let you know the top 20 accounts for their size of their gallery in terms of card count and value, okay? I would use that as a reference to then discount off names that you see on the leaderboard, okay? Because what you're looking for is those guys that maybe aren't on Twitter and Discord, they're quiet, they keep themselves to themselves, and they're maybe getting little edges without blowing their trumpet about it, you know? So what you want to be doing, if you're just starting out and you're really looking to get a little bit of an edge here, a sneaky midfielder no one's really caught their eye on, or really wisened up to, or whatever, is you want to be searching the leaderboards over the last couple of weeks, and you want to be looking for some of these names that keep popping up in the top, in the prizes certainly. Cross-reference that against the big managers and kind of discount those ones off, and then use those guys as little templates to think, do you know what, well, that guy's only got 50 cards and I've seen out the last 7 game weeks he's in the prizes 3 times, or whatever it might be. And okay, well, what cards are really kicking off for him? I've never heard of that guy before. Oh, that guy's going really cheap, and it'll give you an extra little angle. Now, when I was brand new, the game was nowhere near as well populated as it is currently, so this isn't actually a hack I was really able to use in that exact way. What I used to do when I was brand new is a lot of people used to come over on the quiet, especially from the other platforms and whatever, and some guys who I knew were always really good on other games and other platforms, when I seen them come on here, I would often look at their gallery and think, oh, who's that guy buying, who does he see potential in? And then that might be something you might do for super rares potentially, if you know there's a gallery out there that only carries maybe 30 super rares or less, but they've got really good ones. Oh, who have they got? And oh wow, he's a good price, and it can give you something else to go on. Someone else's hard work, you can actually kind of reap the fruit of that yourself if you know where to look and you know what you're looking for, because you can go looking for stuff and you can see anything. If you want to believe it's there, you kind of need to know from the outset what it is you're looking to gain, in terms of information with such a pursuit. But that's number one, is study the competition. The next one is a little bit of a skill that needs to be kind of honed over time, okay? But you need to get really good at seeing the story behind the story, okay? In my gallery, I've got a bunch of examples I could use with varying strengths towards the exact point I'm trying to get at with you here. But I've got a few on screen here, okay? So the first one is Nubel, of course. So Nubel, as we know, has been at Bayern Munich, and he's long been linked with a 2-year loan spell outward, out into another club. Long thought to be Monaco. Recently, as of the last kind of 48 hours, looks like it could be Lille. And then the story behind the story for that, we know Magnan is probably going to go to AC Milan, and we're probably going to have this cascading effect of goalkeepers around the continent, So, that's, there's kind of the obvious ones there. Magnan to AC Milan, Donnarumma to Juve or Chelsea is the kind of main ones. Nubel to Lille for 2 years. Neuer stays in place at Bayern, for the next 2 years, so there's that kind of obvious chain of the main story. But below that, you've got a lot of number 2 goalkeepers that will have consequences and repercussions kind of fall off all the back of that. There's big talk about Chevalier at Lille being the number 1 apparent once the 2-year loan for Nubel was to expire. So the plan for him is he goes on loan for 2 years. Where does he go? It has to be a club where he's going to be playing every week if he's going to step into that breach. They've also got a goalkeeper out on loan, Leo Jardim or Leonardo, depending on what card you look at. He's been really good at Boavista this year. What's going to happen with him? And then on all these other clubs where Donnarumma's moving and Magnan's moving, there's a lot of moving parts. So as soon as you see the story coming or you see it confirmed, you need to know where the dominoes are going to knock on, and how you can without going and buying the Nubel, who's going to skyrocket in price and be mega expensive at this point. Who's the guy that the story doesn't quite obviously benefit, but if you scratch beneath the surface, you read between the lines, you get a feel for the club's perception of the backup goalkeeper or the number 3 goalkeeper or whatever, then you can actually turn a coin really easily. You can actually get yourself a really strong starting goalkeeper for the next 2 years, potentially on a nice little budget. There's maybe one or two other guys that I could scroll through my gallery and find a similar kind of Emerson Heinemann with like Gabriel Heinze coming in. You know, he's playing a possession game football. He wants to build from the back. In those guys that play 4-2-3-1, especially from that kind of Gabriel Heinze mold, you know, South American new age football coach. You know, he's been a professional in the new millennium. They like their defensive midfielders to go box to box and get on the ball plenty, and that kind of thing. The story behind the story. Gabriel Heinze comes in. If this guy plays, and that's a speculation, he will do well. And then, as you can see, you know, he has played, and the the results are there. So I've got a lot of different, and I won him, so that wasn't by design. That was just kind of by accident. But there's lots of kind of stories behind the stories that go on in the world of football, and the better you get at sussing out what the story underneath the story is, you will be able to hack the market in that sense. You will be able to get a goalkeeper for next season at a really cut price, or you'll be able to. Maybe on the other side, you know that guy's going to be the number 1 goalkeeper, and you just need to wait for everyone else for the penny to drop, and the price is going to go up, and then you can sell into the market at a rate you're really happy with. So that's the second one, is get good at seeing the story behind the story. And the third and final one is stalking injured players or out of action players. That's just what I've made. I've just made this little squad to the video today, just as a little visual example, okay? But these are, I think, all or most of the cards that I've got is injured or just out of action, you know. So it might be like a Brendan Aronson who's in a non SO5 covered league, same as Trubin, or it could be something like T&Cs. He's filling out with the manager, he's pushing for a transfer, he's on the bench every week, he's not going to play. It could be a Van Dijk, a guy that's had a big massive injury like an ACL. There's a few different scenarios across these, but you kind of understand the point. All these guys are out, okay? They are out. Their price is going to forever wane until their situation changes, they change club, they return from injury, etc. Okay, so as you can see, all these players are, with maybe the exception of Snodgrass, actually quite appealing cards to have in SO5. Other guys that fall into this category at the moment would be like Zaniolo, for example. Memphis Depay recently, Carlos Vela, Joseph Martinez, we've had a few of them. But you need to get really good. If you are on a budget, you're trying to be very frugal, you want to be getting very good at almost stalking these guys that are injured or out of action for whatever the circumstances might be, because what you want to do, right, or what the best thing to possibly do is, I used the Van Dijk in an example in a video recently. This won't be a perfect example because he's not coming back from injury tomorrow, okay? But me buying Van Dijk now versus me buying Van Dijk in January, both cases he's known injured, you know, same injury, nothing's happened, nothing's changed. Cash flow wise and risk management wise, tying that money up, or opportunity cost I should say, I beg your pardon, tying that money up for the whole duration of the injury is, you know, it's one strategy. It's definitely not the most optimal. You want to be getting that injury price as low as where you can get it, with actually holding the card for as little time as possible. Or if I say they're in a non-PB league, or they're in a non-SO5 league, you're catching them just as the games come back, you know, because there's a lot of these guys now that are non-SO5, they will get Europa League, they will get Asian Champions League, they will get some coverage, you know, or is it before the transfer window opens and you suspect they will move on loan or get a transfer or whatever. So what you're trying to optimise is picking them up, maybe not for the cheapest price that's available, because that can be really tricky for a lot of factors, but picking them up to hold them for as little as possible before you can actually make use of them, whether it be the resale value when they return to action and other people are now willing to pay for them to be an active card, or whether it be you can get them in your gallery, you can get them in your lineup, you know, so you're not tying up the money for an unnecessarily long period of time, for example. So that'll involve getting on Twitter and social media, all this kind of stuff as well, to track these guys and, you know, keep on top of press conferences. You know, what does the manager think if we're thinking about these secondary goalkeepers, for example, or somebody like Odysseus? What is the situation there? What's going on? I actually did a similar thing that a little bit backfired with a goalkeeper. I did it with Ruffier last year, and he fell out so bad with Claude Puel that he retired. So yeah, and again, I was actually able to move that card on to our boy Pavel Trader right as that came out, and it didn't really hurt the cost too much, which was nice and fortunate when that can happen. It might even be somebody like Cuisance who's went on loan to someone. They've changed manager I think 3 times this year. It's just been an absolute train wreck of a season for Marseille. They're still doing kind of okay in the league, it must be said, but this guy's not really had much of a sniff despite a couple of goals and whatever. So With him, I don't expect him to stay at Marseille. I expect him to go back to Bayern and maybe get loaned out again, because he's probably not going to be on the bench for Bayern. So again, that thing, Mikel Cuisance, next season, who could he be going to? Will he play? I think whoever he goes to next season on loan, Bayern are going to insist that he plays, or he's going to stay with them. Who knows what will happen? But again, you're keeping appraised. I know that Marseille are not going to play him, so at this stage of the season, I know his price is going to come down and come down and come down. And somebody like him or him, if I was looking at getting in on them, there's going to be a very good opportunity coming around kind of nowish, depending on the transfer window, how that pans out for him. And again, there'll be examples you've been scouting, that you've been on the fence with, that I'm talking about. Forget the guys that I've got on screen. You'll have your own guys that you've been sussing out, feeling out, getting the rub of the green on. And if you haven't, then start doing it now, because you'll get some great bargains on guys like Memphis Depay. When I first joined the platform, I picked him up on an injury discount, and he's been fantastic since he's been back from injury. There can be ones again like Zaniolo, who I bought coming back from an injury and quickly reoccurred. That's happened with Zeno Van Hoosen as well. He's been back and reoccurred. So you do need to tread carefully. Make sure you're fully aware of the injury. If it is an injury buy, what the recovery percentage is, and what the road to recovery looks like for these guys. And just make sure you do your absolute best, because buying guys that are playing tomorrow, that are in form, is always the most expensive card to buy. Buying the guy who's not playing tomorrow and probably won't play the day after tomorrow is the guy you'll get a good discount on, if you've got the patience and the knowledge and the foresight to be able to sit on it and wait for it to come into fruition. I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. About to pop on screen now some other stuff I've made. I hope you like that as well. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.